I was 6 years old and I was due to have my tonsils removed. I remember meeting the surgeons, who were in a good mood, cracking jokes with me. One guy applied the anesthesia. I had to count backward from 10 to 0, and I still remember that on the count of 6 or 7, it took me longer to say the next number. I fell asleep. At some point, I thought I was dreaming. In my dream, I woke up and I saw 3 doctors really busy with me. I saw myself still laying there, but I also found myself floating. I had a view from high up in the room. I didn't think much of me seeing these 3 doctors busy. I didn't feel anything, nor did I have any emotion. I did notice that in a corner behind me there was a light, shaped in a circular portal. It was just there. I didn't feel a strong physical pull, but I guess it seemed logical to enter, or maybe there was an emotional pull. Anyway, I did enter the portal. "Hello, I'm the grandfather of your father. I was sent to meet you. You can come with me since you are allowed into heaven," a young guy about my age said. I looked at him and replied, "You don't really look like a grandfather." He laughed. "I thought this image would make you feel more comfortable, but if you prefer this," and when I looked he now appeared to me in the image of an old man. He smiled. I guess he tried to make me comfortable. I was fine though. I looked around me and I was in a white space. There were no walls. We were walking like a human being on something but not a floor. There was no ceiling either. Everything was white. In the distance, I saw a white wall. The wall was as big as a townhouse on its side. The wall was white, and behind it was a radiance emitting quite a bright white light. The white light was emitting light in a circular shape, and the shape was larger than the wall. I could not see what was behind the wall, I just saw the radiant light. I did see 2 people standing on the other side of the wall. They were facing whoever was behind the wall. They were small in comparison to the wall. One was standing and was calm. The other one seemed like a very strong, bearded man, age 50 or so, kneeling and crying before the light. While we were approaching the light, I could feel the light. It's a feeling I will never forget. It was pure love. So much love it was overwhelming. I had to cry with joy. Within that moment nothing mattered. You were accepted as you were. Your deeds or wrongdoings did not matter at all. It was all good. I snapped out of it. I was still behind the wall walking with my great-grandfather towards the light. I don't know whether he had asked me a question, but I found myself saying I should go back. He looked at me asking why. I told him my parents would be very sad. Further, I have a lot of friends I still would like to be with, and I have a whole life ahead of me. "Then you should go back," he replied. At that moment, I was concerned with the question, "But how do I go back?" and started to look around me for a way back. And without any word or explanation, everything went black and I woke up on the surgery table. One of the surgeons asked me, "Well, you gave us a good scare, but we managed to get you back." He paused and asked me, "But tell me, did you see or dream something?" I couldn't really talk though, my tonsils were removed. I fell asleep again, and sometime later I found my parents and little brother beside my bed. For me, at that time, this encounter just felt like another dream. I just started realizing what happened after the age of 40. Nowadays people have described me as very calm and sometimes even calming towards others. Between then and now a few more events happened. As a child I would often ask myself what would happen in the future. Things like, what would my future wife look like, where will I work, what will I do, and quite often this was revealed to me in small sneak peeks into the future. In those small dreams, I saw my future self in an event. For example, sitting at a table discussing something with strangers, or I would see a face of a young woman who could have been my wife or daughter. The realization only comes when the event actually happens, much like a déjà vu, and this actually raised a question: if events are known years before it actually happens, what is this life all about? I still don't know the answer. Nor do I question it a lot anymore. It is what it is, and I'm more than thankful for having a very happy life. Even if it is preordained. People find me calm or very calming towards others. But at the same time, I sometimes enrage people without any provocation, just because I'm in the same neighborhood. For example, I was waiting on my luggage at an airport in the USA. Next to me was a nun, quite petite of posture, and she was of age. I could feel she was nervous. Which to me was odd. She was a nun after all, but I guess she wasn't accustomed to traveling. At some point in time, she looked at me, her eyebrows arching in a way as wanting to ask a question. I looked back, smiled, and only closed my eyes slowly. She looked at me, smiled, and she nodded to herself as in saying, "Have faith." She was calm from that point onward. Moments later her luggage arrived. A guy standing on the other side of her helped the nun with the luggage. When she left though, the nun thanked me, ignoring the guy that helped her with the luggage. That enraged the other guy almost to a point he wanted to become violent. I also experienced moments though that I apparently enraged guys. When younger I was often challenged to a fight while the guy was ranting, for me, absolute nonsense, like speaking in a language I don't understand. Those moments happen out of nothing, in a library while reading a book, having a drink with friends, walking on a street, and such. For me, it feels like evil gets agitated when I'm around. Luckily for me, it never became violent or physical, but it is still strange to see people get agitated out of nothing. When the age of 40 I suffered from a midlife crisis depression. Nothing really bad, I just noticed that my level of energy or drive was gone. When I was in my 30s, I founded an IT company, I worked 12 hours a day, and I was on top of everything. It was successful and I sold out. A year or so later I started a new company with my father. During that period the depression kicked in. I was still there, did the things I needed to do, but nothing more. I knew or told myself it is just a midlife crisis, it will pass. But it lasted years. One evening, in the middle of the night I woke up. My wife next to me was still sleeping. At the foot end of the bed was a being in human form. It had no facial or body features, but was more a being made of energy. The next thing that happened is that I felt an energy in my brain. That energy was the same energy as I felt when I was in the white space, but instead of embracing me, it felt like it unscrambled my brain. My depression disappeared after this event, not instantly but over a period of a few months. Today I'm still thankful for this being to show up and help me out of this dark period in my life.